The holidays are fast approaching, and the holidays are a great time to think about design. And most people, when they think about design and holidays, they think about decorating a tree, decorating the table, decorating with lights, all that type of stuff, how to decorate the house. But there's more to design than just decoration. So I wanted to talk to you about designing your holiday experience. And for me, this is about traditions. It's about creating traditions that you do every single year at a certain time. One of the big times that I thought about holiday traditions and what they would be at first was when I had children, when I first had children. And I really adjusted the way that our holidays were, and I thought about, what do I want the holidays to be for my children as they grow? So one of the things was, I always decorated for Christmas the day after Thanksgiving. Well, my elder son was born on December 15th. So what I decided to do was to say, okay, we are going to start decorating for Christmas on December 16th so that we could celebrate his birthday on the 15th, and that would really be about his birthday. Another thing is, I love to cook. I'm usually the one cooking for the whole family, cooking the feast. And I used to do that every Christmas Day. Once we had children, I changed that because what I realized is I was missing Christmas. I was missing Christmas because I was in the kitchen all day. So, new rule or new tradition, what I decided was I would cook an amazing feast on Christmas Eve. I would cook all day and I would cook enough food so that I didn't have to cook at all on Christmas Day. I would even do a strata or something the day before that I could just put in the oven Christmas morning. So I literally just was not cooking at all on Christmas Day. Another tradition we did was when I was growing up, everybody tore into the gifts all at once. So here you'd been anticipating Christmas for a long time, really put thought into the gifts that you gave your family, and everybody just ripped into them. And a lot of times we'd miss what people had been gifted. What we decided when my children were little was we decided to change the tradition. And for us, what we started to do was open one gift at a time. So for us, what we did was the youngest person in the room, the youngest person in the house, if they were old enough, so the youngest person who was old enough, would go under the tree and pick out a gift, look at who it was for, and hand it to that person, and everyone would watch that person open the gift. It made Christmas last longer. We would take breaks during it. It really extended the joy, and it made us all be very aware of everything that everyone received and talk about the gift and talk about the thought that went into the gift. Really changed my Christmas experience, and we enjoyed Christmas that much more. Another thing that we did was we would have Christmas stockings, and the Christmas stockings were for the smaller gifts and even little acts of service. So if something were broken, some small thing were broken, maybe you'd fix it, wrap it, and put it in the stocking. And so the gift was really the act of service of fixing that item. Also, the gifts that came out of the stocking could seem a little weird. They were hints of things to come. For example, somebody would open a package of batteries and think, what am I going to get that is going to require these batteries? My house is a modernist house, and it has a big picture window out the back overlooking a forest. There's even an American holly right outside the window that at Christmas time is full of red berries. It's a beautiful wintry holly tree. So it seems silly for me to take a tree from the outside and put it in my living room. It just didn't seem to make sense. So what I did was I created this wacky Christmas forest. We have every year 3 Christmas trees that are just wacky and weird. One of them is lime green, one is silver, and one is this bright neon blue. And they're all decorated in a very modernist way. It was funny because my son didn't like the trees. He just didn't like them. And so he would complain about them. He complained about them probably for the first 2 or 3 years. So one year I said, you know what, fine. What we're gonna go do is we'll go get a real tree. Big protest, major protest. That had become a tradition for him. and he couldn't imagine Christmas without them. What I would do to bring the smell of Christmas in is every year I have wreaths and different garlands around that do provide the smell of Christmas. We also collect pine cones from around the yard, and we spray paint them different colors of gold and silver to put in the wreaths and to put in the garlands. Another thing we did is when the boys were little, we hosted au pairs in our home. We had au pairs almost the whole time they grew up. And what an au pair is essentially a foreign nanny. And I wanted to make sure that even though they were far away from home, that there was something that reminded them of Christmas at home. And so even before they came to our house, it could be the summer, I would tell them, I want you to think about what Christmas means to you. If there's a certain recipe or a certain food that you really need to have for it to be Christmas for you, make sure to bring that recipe and we will make it for Christmas. We would also ask them about their Christmas traditions and what made it Christmas for them. I'm talking about Christmas now because that's what's coming up for me, but it can be any holiday that you celebrate. And the traditions don't have to be fancy. Just having something that you do every year can make that celebration so much more special. For example, for me, for birthdays, every year I try something new. I try a new experience. I've gone indoor skydiving, an archery lesson, things like that. For me, that's how I celebrate my birthday. If you're someone who doesn't bake a lot, maybe you decide, okay, on birthdays, we bake a cake. It's okay if Duncan or Betty helps you with the cake, but your tradition is you bake a cake. Even just having cake every year for your birthday, that's a tradition that makes it special. You can add to that or not, depending on what you want to do. And maybe for you, it isn't going to be cake. Maybe it's cupcakes, or maybe it's something entirely different. Any time is a good time to think about your holiday traditions and what you want to create. Especially good times are times of big change. So a marriage, for example, is a good time to talk to each other about what are your traditions in each family, what do you like about your traditions, what do you not like, and kind of pick the best together, pick the traditions you both like best, and make those your new traditions. Like for me, the birth of a baby may be the perfect time to really assess what traditions you have and adjust those now that you have children. Divorce is also a time to reconsider traditions. For me personally, when that happened in my life, one of the traditions became Christmas doesn't always have to fall on Christmas, because sometimes we alternated Christmas and Thanksgiving, so sometimes Christmas didn't happen on Christmas Day. The death of a relative is another time that it may make sense to evaluate traditions. Maybe that person always cooked. Maybe that person always did something for Christmas. You can decide now whether that tradition will continue, the tradition of cooking or the tradition of candle making or whatever it is, or not. And if it is going to continue, who does it? So the point here is to think of holidays in terms of design, and not just the design of the decorating, but the design of your experience, and to create traditions for yourself that work for you and that make holidays meaningful for you. They can be as individual as you are. I hope you enjoyed this video on designing your own holiday traditions. I upload videos every Thursday and invite you to subscribe. I'm also on Instagram at Jill Maurer Jewelry and online at jillmaurer.com. Happy holidays and see you next Thursday.